Okay, if everyone's ready, I think let's get started. So hello and welcome to today's webinar. Thank you very much for joining. This is the UCL Undergraduate Civil Engineering Offer Holder webinar. The webinar is being recorded today, so you might be joining us live or you might be watching back this recording at a later date, so welcome to everyone. My name is Kasia Lads and my co-host for the webinar today is Hayley Dancy. We both work in professional services for the Department of Civil, Environmental and Geomatic Engineering at UCL. And Hayley is the Teaching and Learning Administrator and I work in communications for the department. Hayley, would you like to say hello?
Hi, good morning everybody. I'm Hayley, Teaching and Learning Administrator, and I'll be checking the chat box today. So if you've got any issues around audio or visuals, just let me know and I'll try and help you out. And I'd like to say congratulations as well to all our offer holders, and we look forward to meeting you later on in the year, hopefully. Thank you.
Great, thank you. So for today's webinar, we'll hear from our undergraduate admissions tutor, Dr Manni Bhatti, our Programme Director, Dr Tristan Robinson, and the Head of Department for Civil, Environmental, Geomatic Engineering, Professor Jose Torero Cullen, and a couple of our current students too, Matthias and Bassel, to discuss the UCL Civil Engineering BEng and MEng. So the webinar will last for 1 hour. We'll hear a short welcome from Jose and we'll then hear a presentation from Manni and from Tristan. And then we'll hear from our students about the experiences within the department. And after all those presentations, there'll be a chance for you to ask the panel any questions you have about the course, module options, life at UCL, or anything else. And you can use the box to do that at the bottom of the screen. So there's a Q&A box just in the middle. And then you can also let us know of any issues in the chat panel on the right-hand side, and we'll be sharing links there as well for further presentations. So if we're all ready, I'll start off by introducing the panel. So with us today, we have undergraduate admissions tutor and senior teaching fellow, Dr Manni Bhatti. Manni, would you like to say hello?
Hello, everyone.
Great, thank you.
Welcome.
And we also have Dr Tristan Robinson, and Tristan is a Programme Director for Civil Engineering and Senior Teaching Fellow.
Hello, and welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Great, thank you. And then we have two students. First, we have Bassel, an international student from Lebanon. He's currently in his first year of Civil, Environmental, Geomatic Engineering at UCL. His general interests are dams and how they work, and also reducing pollution caused by construction.
Hello, I'm Bassel.
Thank you. And then we have Matthias, who's also a first-year student, and he's Belgian, but is living in Germany. He attended the European School in Munich, and he has a passion for technology, football, and mountain biking.
Hi there.
Great, thank you. And finally, we have Professor Jose Torero Cullen, and he's the Professor of Civil Engineering and Head of the Department. And he works in the fields of fire safety, combustion, and environmental remediation. So Jose is going to start things off for us by giving an introduction to the department. So Jose, over to you.
Thank you. So first of all, I just want to thank you for joining us and congratulate you for your offer. And we're very glad to have you with us. And very rapidly, we'll pass on to the rest of the panelists to give you some details on a number of things. But I didn't want to miss the opportunity, to welcome you to this webinar and also to welcome you to our department. So our department is an incredibly vibrant place, full of really interesting people, all very much dedicated, to the well-being and the support of our students. We try to make an enormous effort, to make sure that you get the best possible experience, within our department. We are a very hands-on department that tries to engage with you and have you engage with projects and work that is of direct relevance, to the profession. And we also, as academics, part of the department, we are also very much engaged in numerous different activities that, for example, now, with this complex situation of COVID-19, has presented itself as a place in which our department is contributing in numerous, different ways. For example, we have academics supporting government on geospatial matters that try to track down, for example, people that have been contaminated. And all the way to the other extreme, where there's basically academics from our department trying to help people understand, how to wash their hands appropriately. So there's a campaign that helps people do these things properly. And our academics have participated in making sure that these things are conveyed in the most effective of manners. We're very interested in well-being and social matters, and as such, we constantly engage at different levels with industry and government in trying to make sure that our expertise, is part of the decision making. So as I say, I just wanted to welcome you to a department that is very much a vibrant place with very engaged people. Very conscious of the community around them and of the industries that we support, and hopefully, this webinar, will be enlightening to you and give you the opportunity to learn more about us. Thank you very much, and I'll pass on, to the next person.
Thank you, Jose. That's really helpful. Great. We're now going to hear from Manni, who's going to give a presentation on studying civil engineering at UCL.
Hey, hello everybody. I'm just going to share my screen with you, so just give me a second while I try and do that. Okay, so hopefully everyone can see that, yes? If you can't, just message. Yes, okay. So welcome to our department, and I'm going to be looking at and also talking to you about what to expect when you get here. So I'm the undergraduate admissions tutor, but also I'm the departmental graduate tutor, meaning PhD students, when they come in, I look after them. So I go from the undergraduate all the way up to the postgraduate. I also am in charge of the careers as well, and I'm the academic and research writing tutor for the department, including I'm actually not a proper engineer. I'm a scientist, but I teach science within engineering. So moving on. So we already know what the requirements are. You've applied. You've been given a conditional acceptance, and for A levels it's A star AA, as we know, IB 39 points, and for the BTEC it's 3 D stars. But because of the changes that have been occurring and the current situation, your predicted grades, your coursework and your classwork are going to be assessed by your teachers, your tutors at your school and college, and they will then send the grades that they think you would have got to the exam boards, and that's what we get. So sort of late July and so on, we'll get those grades, and that's how we then will say yes or no. So we as UCL, we don't have any changes within how we accept you, but there will be some changes for you. And if there are any issues, or you think that you would have got a better grade, then you would ask your teachers and your school, and not us. Okay, so make sure that you do talk to them. And then we are going to have a bit of a slight delay in our offers, and according to what we did before, our offers are going to go a little bit later on into the year, meaning that we're going to take into account those that are saying that you would have got a better grade, so can we appeal? So we're going to go a little bit further on than we did in previous years. So there is some flexibility there. So how are we different to other universities? Well, about 45% of our 4-year program is practical based, and about 60% is coursework based. So there's a lot of practical and coursework that we expect you to do within this degree program. You are going to use a lot of theoretical skills, and those are going to be applied in a practical environment. And there's a lot of teamwork involved. So as long as you're happy doing teamwork, then you'll be great within our department. What we always say to our students is, are you able to do the following? So ask yourself, are you capable of leading a team to successfully complete a project? And within the degree program, you are expected to be leading a team, and you're also expected to be a part of a team as well. So somebody else leads and you need to be able to follow instructions. You have to meet many tight deadlines, and our students will talk to you a bit more about that. You can ask them about that. We do expect you to be independent and proactive in your learning. So we expect you to go off and find information yourself. We will give you reading lists and so on, and you then go off to the library. We have a lot of online resources and you do further reading there. And you also need to keep in mind engineering and its impact on society. As Professor Cullen said, it is now the situation is such that engineers, scientists and medical doctors are all getting together, and we are looking at what's going on in society and helping. So what is the impact of COVID-19? How are we able to help? So that's one of the things where engineers and scientists have come in. So within our department, we had the very first professor in civil engineering. On the same sort of note as what we've been saying, the strengths do rely on the variety of the staff that we have. So we've got the OBE award winner within our department. We also have, like I say, scientists and the psychologists in the department. They are essential because as engineers, you're going to be looking at building, for example, roads, building, things like not just buildings, but also bridges, and how are people going to respond to that? So you need to take that into account. So again, looking at what's going on at the moment, all the decisions that are being made are in relation to how people are responding to these decisions. And as civil engineers, you have that responsibility too. We have extensive links with industry. So Tristan Robinson's going to talk more about the IDP, but we're the first in the world, in fact, to have the integrated design project. And also our third year projects and professional tutorials where you go visit different construction sites and internships. They're all to do with the links that we have in industry. We have roughly an annual intake of between 90 and 100 undergraduates. Obviously this year it is going to be different, and it's likely that we will have more. But we try and keep our classes smaller because other universities have like 200, 300 students for civil engineering. We believe that the smaller classes help with better interaction. We've got students in smaller groups, so you're able to work on projects a lot better. And with regards to the gender balance, we have more female students than any sort of other departments within the faculty. So we've got roughly about 30 to 35% of our students are female. We're aiming for 50%. And we have even come up in the news as aiming to have a higher intake of female students. So we're doing pretty well, as our senior management team as well is 50% female. So if and when you do come here, this is what the timetable looks like for the 4 years. And we've got the practical modules are those in green, and the theoretical core modules are what you'll find at any university really. Like I say, it's a lot more practical based. And the things like the minors, the civil engineering project is still practical based, but you choose from a variety of different topics. With the minors, you can choose from things like law, languages, computing, finance. So it's whatever interests you, you can add to the whole program. We also have challenges and scenarios, and in the first 10 weeks, you'll have the challenges. So challenge 1 is the earthquake response, where you also do some work with a team that's equivalent to you in Chile, because the earthquake that we look at, all the different earthquakes, are within Chile. And you do a lot of work with that team of people within Chile, communicate with them. So what are your communication skills like, and so on. And then you've got challenge 2, which is looking at quite aptly, a vaccine plant within Africa and how you would go about building that. For this, it's TB, but we might change it to COVID next year. And you've got different scenarios, which are week-long scenarios, and they run from first year all the way to the third year. And this is where you do just the scenario for the entire week. So you don't have any additional lectures. Whereas with the challenges, you would do, hence the baptism of fire when you come in to the degree program. So why no maths or physics? This is a question that we get asked quite a lot. So if you have had A-levels and you are doing A-levels where it's not maths or physics within these A-levels, then it doesn't really matter, because we teach you the maths and the physics and apply it to a real life situation. So for example, say at GCSE level, we do require you to have an A. Sorry, I just want to make sure that people can hear me. Yeah, it's fine. And so what we do is at A level, so I'm just going to make sure. I think there's somebody telling me they can't hear me, or it's okay. I think it's okay. All right. So at GCSE level, you look at matrices, for example. And a lot of the time students say, yes, but where are we ever going to use it? Well, as civil engineers, when you design a bridge, for example, and you use the matrices like this, which you have kind of seen when you did your GCSEs and at A level a little bit, but we teach you how to use these, for example, when you're looking at two different forces when you're designing a bridge. And the reason that we're quite happy to have students that haven't got the science A levels is because they come in looking at this problem from a slightly different angle, and they're able to solve these problems. They're able to help their fellow students looking at it from a different angle. And that's the kind of student that we're happy to have. So we're quite happy to have you if you don't have any A-level physics or maths. If you don't have it, don't worry. We've got topic-specific tutorials. We've also got, you can see the lecturer who delivered the lecture on a one-to-one basis. Just ask them, can you clarify X, Y, Z? And they're happy to do so. You have a mentor, and the mentors are in their second year, so they can also help you with any issues that you may have. The thing that you have to remember, even though we give you as much help as we possibly can, we do expect you to be independent, and we don't want to spoon feed you. So please don't expect for us to be handing you things that you had when you were at school. It makes for a much more independent, better qualified civil engineer. My favourite, E.M. Forster, he did say spoon feeding in the long run teaches us nothing but the shape of the spoon. And what we're really looking for are people who like to be challenged, because when you come into UCL to do civil engineering, expect to be challenged, expect to be pushed to your limits, because that is the kind of person that we're looking for. Okay, so these are some useful links, and so this will be available at the end, and then you can click on these links and they take you to various places. I'm going to hand over now to Dr. Tristan Robinson, who's going to expand on some of the bits that I've been talking about. Okay, and then at the end, you can ask questions a bit later. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing. And I'm going to hand over to Tristan. Okay, so it's over to you, Tristan.
All right, so that was a very good insight into our program. What I'm going to share with you now is a little bit more on how the practical side of what the students actually produce. What kind of work do you expect to get out of it when you come to join us? So one thing we, as Manny mentioned, was that we're very keen to keep our student numbers low. This is one reason behind this is because our program is driven by this practical-based learning. And in order to deliver a practical-based learning in a enjoyable and a pleasant way, the group sizing and the group numbers, we're good to keep them relatively small. So the first things I'm going to show you here, oh, sorry, I forgot to share my screen. So let me just share my screen. Oh yeah, you don't see that. So the first thing I'm going to show you here is some of the students' outputs from the scenarios challenges. So this is when we give the students, put the students all the lecture type lessons stop, and the students work on dedicated projects. At the start of the week, they are given a brief, a design constraint, something that needs to be done. A client wants a bridge installed between a river crossing, and then you work as a team to design this. You need to look at the structural elements of it, but also the geotechnics, the ground conditions, and also the impact it has on the societal and the environment. These are all very key considerations for us. Doing the actual calculations, the maths of it, although it be very important, is not what will make a successful structure. Whenever we talk to alumni about how is your work, what's the difficult part, it is all the people interaction that's the difficult part. It's the people, it's interaction with the people, the clients, the stakeholders, everybody that's involved in the project that makes a project successful or not successful. So you working as a team here at UCL, we see this as a great opportunity for you to learn your craft and become great team players. All civil engineers need to be great team players. So we have four scenarios in year one, another 4 scenarios in year 2. However, those scenarios in year 2 are disguised in different forms, and how they are disguised is when we actually send you on the field to go off and measure things. So at the end of year 1, we have two residential field studies in our degree program. One at the end of year 1 and one second one at the end of year 2. So please do not think that term 3 is just exams and then you can go off. No, you have your exams, and then after the exams, we get you all back together and you go off on these field courses. So at the end of year 1, we go off to Lampeter, and that's where you learn about surveying and laying out a road. There's a prep week at UCL where you learn about the equipment, and then the second week you go off and I shall go do some surveying and laying out. At the end of it, you can design a road along this countryside. This is often seen as one of our highlights, or the highlights of the year 1, and the students really see this great opportunity of bonding. Up until that point, they were very busy in their studies, but this has given them the opportunity to actually hang out together and spend some good quality time together. So that's the end of year 1. At the end of the year 2, you go off on the construction management and skills field course. This is another residential field course. I am actually the one leading this field course currently. And you work in large teams, around 20 students per team, and you go off and build and design a scaled real life structure. A lot of the cases are designed on real structures. This is an oil platform that's going to go off that goes off to sea, and these are bridges, foundations for the bridges, and the students build these highly structured, engineered buildings, structures, over a week. They really enjoy it. It's very much hands-on. It's a lot of hard work. Yeah, so it's a lot of fun, and we're one of the few universities that actually run this program. But we do think it's actually invaluable for our students. As civil engineers, you have the choice of being a consultant or contractor. A consultant is more a designer when they sit in the office and plan this work. And as undergraduate, that's where most of our students want to go, as that's more what they're familiar with. But after a week on site, they want to become contractors. Contractors, they're the actual ones who actually go off and build the structures. And it's a really inspiring week, and they want to change their careers, their prospective careers. So after that, so at the end of it, we have our Capstone design project. That's an integrated design project where you work in groups of 8 to 9 students, and we are given a large project to design, often a railway platform, a railway station, airports, a new hospital, all sorts of facilities. Which one was that? That was a research laboratory, and you have to look at from the ground up. You're given a site, you have to do site analysis, you have to look at construction sequence behind it, you have to do the structural design, the foundation, the drainage, the cost plan of it, the whole design of it. We see this this is for our MEng students, the fourth year students. They go off and do this, and we see this very much as what you would be doing as a civil engineer. There's an educational part of that, but it's also what we think you will be doing as a civil engineer once you've graduated from our degree program. I appreciate that was all quite quick, but that's all I wanted to show you. I'll be around if you got any further questions, and I'll pass you on to Bassel. He's our CivSoc, our Student Society president. We are very keen to promote their work. They do great work, and I'm sure Bassel will tell you a little bit more about what they do and what he has planned for next year. And I'll pass you on to Bassel. Thank you.
Hello. So first, I start talking about the academic part of the year. So one of the reasons why I chose UCL is the field courses, which Tristan just discussed. And what we're frequently being told is that you learn more from experience than just reading from a book. So this was one of the most attractive things, and why I chose UCL. Now, you do have a lot of teamwork. Like I can barely use my fingers to count how many individual courseworks we have. It's all based on teamwork, and it is a lot of work, especially in the first term. After reading week is the second half of the first term. That's when challenge 2 comes around, and that's the most challenging part of the year so far, to be honest, where you have a lot of drawings, deadlines, short quizzes, lab reports, and also challenge 2, which includes weekly deliverables and also presentations. So that's a lot of hard work, and it may be tiring, but eventually you will learn from being put under pressure. So only good can come out of being under pressure like that. Now, as for the non-academic part, as Tristan mentioned, I am the new president of CivSoc. We're aiming to do really good things to students. Our aim is to get the students' morale as high as possible and make them as satisfied as possible in this course, and make them feel more like a family, which it already is. It already feels more like a family, especially between the student and the staff. It's a very close relationship between both. Now, unfortunately, this year for first years, me and Matthias, we did not get a chance to experience that as much as previous years because of COVID-19 and our year being cut short. And but it was still a really good year, and you really do make a lot of friends just by and the teamwork helps a lot in that. You hang out with a lot of people. You work with almost everyone in your class. So that was my part, and I'll pass on to my friend Matthias.
Right. Hi there. So when I was deciding to go study at UCL, I looked at the academic and social components. And academically, obviously, UCL enjoys a really high academic excellence. You've got a high reputation, and I looked at the rankings, obviously, where UCL does really well as well. And then also regarding the program, I wanted a very practical approach where there's a lot of hands-on experience, for instance, with these scenarios and challenges. And that, as said, that involves a lot of teamwork. But that also allows the application of science and technology to like relevant engineering problems from the very beginning. And that was something that I really was looking forward to. Regarding the teaching, there are very high teaching standards and quality, and you're being taught by industry experts, and you feel that, and you get to know that because your lecturers are really knowledgeable, and that really makes it interesting. Then regarding the course, again, it's not a classic civil engineering course. You've got the IEP, which is the integrated engineering program, and that gives you kind of the opportunity to experience the different engineering related topics, and also hence allows you to gain like a broader knowledge and broader view of the engineering profession, and just simply allows you to pick up something next to your civil engineering degree, which is something I see as a great merit. And then regarding the field trips, I was really looking forward to participating at Lampeter, but like sadly due to COVID-19, we weren't able to do that this year. And I'm also looking forward to the Constructionarium. So those are really 2 points I was that influenced my decision to come to UCL. And then socially, well, I graduated from a European school. That's a very diverse school, and I really an international school, and I really enjoy this international environment. And that's also a reason why I came to UCL, because there's just a really big international community there, very diverse university. You've got a lot of different cultures, different languages and backgrounds, and that's just really interesting in my opinion. And then regarding London, London is a fantastic city to study, and UCL offers many social activities as well. For instance, societies and clubs as CivSoc, but I also am part of the Red Star Football Club. And I feel like that's just a major part of the student experience which UCL offers. And then my current experience, well, before all this Corona happened, there were naturally some long working days, and especially during scenarios and challenges. And that was also a lot of deadlines, which can be stressful at times. But if you manage your time efficiently, they're all doable. And then regarding teamwork, 99% of the time, teamwork is really interesting and rewarding. But sometimes it can get a bit frustrating if people don't pull their own weight. But that if that happens, then there's a lot of people who are willing to help you figure out the situation. And also, there are very interesting, the lectures and the project themselves are very interesting. As said, you're being taught by industry experts who are very inspiring. They're very knowledgeable about and enthusiastic about their subject, and that really motivates you to do well and to be engaged into the subject. And then now, well, after Corona, basically, our teaching was suspended 1 week before the end of term. So that meant that we missed our last scenario, like our second scenario. But also that meant that we are now, basically I'm now at home, and I've been revising for the last couple of weeks. And even though the situation is kind of a bit tricky, UCL is still like continue to provide information regarding exams and has offered extensive support if it were needed. And what I really appreciate and what I kind of has surprised me sometimes at UCL is, well, there's just a super friendly and welcoming atmosphere, even though London is such a big city. And there's a great support network. Lecturers are always open for questions and further guidance if needed. And personally, I was a bit worried that starting to study at the university and a large city can be a bit daunting at first, because I come from a quite small village in Germany. But I feel like I adapted to London and UCL's teaching approach pretty fast. So that's something that I would urge you not to worry about at all. And then, well, even though engineering is a demanding program itself, I feel like UCL has managed to arrange it in such a way that you're still able to experience a full student life, which is not always the case with other universities. And then lastly, well, the course itself prepares us, well, the students really well for the working environment later on. And I feel that is something super important. And it does that through social interaction in form of teamwork, but also through specific courses dedicated to that, for instance, professional skills or civil engineering design. Right, that was everything. I'll pass on to the next one. Thank you.
Thank you, Matthias, and thank you, Bassel, as well. It's really, really great to hear both of your experiences. Sounds like they've been pretty positive, which is great. There's just a question here that we've had around what you were saying, Matthias, about the UCL's ranking. And somebody's just asked around, isn't UCL's subject ranking in civil below 100, and how did this play into the experience?